Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for All Eyez on Me. So this film follows Tupac Shakur, who was a famous African-American rapper in the 1990s, and it follows his story as he has a rise to power from becoming this poverty-stricken young man to becoming this famous, really well-known icon for rapping. He went from being somewhat just a no-name, just this random guy with a bad past, to becoming one of the most famous people in history, or in recent history. And that obviously provides for an interesting biopic. Biopics are typically really powerful, provocative stories of true people in real life that have made an impact on today. And of all the stories, Tupac is a story that had not gotten one yet, and it definitely deserved one, because there's still a lot of questions around Tupac's story. For one, obviously, his death. No one has really solved it, it's still a mystery, no one really quite knows who did it, and that is obviously very interesting material. And because of that, and a few other things, I was excited for All Eyez on Me. I thought that the movie had a lot of potential. However, reviews got out that weren't great, they were quite negative, which actually kind of surprised me, because the trailers looked decent. They weren't anything great, but reviews came out, I believe it has like a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I went in sort of hesitant, but thinking that maybe I would still get an okay movie, and I came out pretty much agreeing with everything the reviews had to say. All Eyez on Me is very rushed, it's very heavy-handed, it's very one-sided, and I think that maybe you could have gotten a good movie here. Because there are multiple scenes throughout the film that I sort of stopped and looked at it and I thought, hey, maybe if you had this here and this out, you could sort of had a good movie, and if you let this be fleshed out more. Because one of the main things this movie has a hard time with is pace and editing. Every single scene just goes by and flows very incoherently. It sort of feels like they didn't really have time to flesh out anything because they're always trying to provide every little detail. There's even a detail where Tupac shoots two undercover cops. I don't think that's really a spoiler, but he does that, and it's in the movie for about 20 seconds. And it doesn't really affect what's going on. It paints more of an image to Tupac, but the issue is you already have that image of him. And the fact that they included that just sort of bogged down the film. And there are multiple scenes like that throughout. There are multiple scenes that are sort of just there to provide an extra detail on Tupac's life. And that really messed with everything going on in the movie. Because when you can't flesh certain things out, suddenly there's no power there. There's no impact. And the main point of this movie is to try to be an impactful, powerful commentary on racism through policemen in the 90s, but also on rap rising as an art form, and all that sort of stuff. And to make that successful, you need to be able to have characters that you can sympathize with, or plots that are fleshed out and are worthwhile. And really, All Eyez on Me has a hard time with that. Now, maybe not with sympathizing with the main character, but other characters are really hard to, because oftentimes they're just represented as awful people. And even the ones that are good people oftentimes have a lot of bad sides to them. And that's because they made this film very one-sided to Tupac. It sort of felt like this movie was made particularly for his fans, because every time Tupac was in a bad situation, like certain cases where he was accused of rape and that kind of stuff, it was always on his side. It was always saying that he was the good guy and that he didn't do anything wrong, and that really made the film unpowerful. That was another aspect that did that, because you didn't really get any three-dimensional characters or any three-dimensional situations. They were all very one-sided, they were all very two-dimensional, and very, very flat. And that made it so that Tupac just sort of seemed like this god that couldn't do anything wrong. And that's definitely not what you want to do with a biopic. A good biopic will show the good sides and the bad sides to a character. And All Eyez on Me fails with that. And this movie has a very lengthy runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is weird why you might find that I say that it was rushed, because with a movie this long, how do you make it so that it's rushed when you have so much time to develop things? Well, again, they decide to include everything, and because of that, nothing really, just nothing really, I didn't care about anything, to the point that about an hour and 30 minutes in, I was already begging for the movie to be over. And that's never a good sign. I was definitely not entertained by this movie. Although there is definitely a good performance. I was going to say that there are good performances, but I would be lying. That is not the case, because there's a lot of just mediocre performances from everyone besides Tupac. I don't remember the actor's name. I'll probably leave it right there. But he was very, very good in this movie. He didn't embody Tupac or like represent him in a powerful way or anything like that makes Oscar-worthy performances. But for what he was doing, he seemed very invested in the role and he was very strong. Everyone else, though, was practically just reading lines, and they just didn't really make an impact on the movie, and they were just there because they were in Tupac's life. And if you got some better performances and some better character, would have fleshed out the characters more, you would have sympathized with everything more, a lot of it would have felt a lot stronger. So unfortunately, All Eyez on Me was a very weak movie. I think that maybe you have a good movie here with better performances, with far better editing, and with more scenes that can be fleshed out, but unfortunately, it's bogged down by one-sidedness and the fact that it's just overall rushed. I will give All Eyez on Me a 3.75 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for All Eyez on Me. What are your thoughts on this film? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I'm Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.